Hey beautiful people, and welcome back to our first video here at Connect with Chloe. And today's video is titled, drum roll, You're not lazy, you are mentally burnt out. I had to add a little bit of lightness to it because the topic's a little bit serious, guys. How many times have you written a to-do list, right? And got to the end of the day and felt like nothing has been done, right? You feel like you are somehow procrastinating, you're busy being busy, and the tasks on your list, you just don't have the mental capacity to complete. Or maybe you just feel drained. I've actually written some notes because I've been there. So I went back in my journal and I've literally wanted to get back to the space of, this is me. Like, where was I feeling when I was mentally burnt out? So if you see me looking to my right, it's because I don't want to miss a beat. I don't want you guys to not have these nuggets. I went to New York last year, and the hustle culture, I think every person I met had a second job. Some people even had three. They had like a job, a side business, and another hustle of some sort. And I left feeling like, oh my goodness, I'm so lazy. And I was there for 2 months, so fair, the New York grind's gonna get to you. But it left me feeling like, why do I feel like I'm lazy? Yet I know I do so much. I know that I'm super productive, but why do I still feel like that? And I had to sit back. And the reason I went to New York was because I was so burnt out. And I thought I'd come back refreshed, renewed, and I did. But I also saw what this rat race culture causes. In major cities all over the world, we're so used to the hustle and bustle, the team no sleep, the sleep when you're dead. Okay, but your body needs rest. Your body needs nutrients. Your body needs to recuperate. And we underestimate mental exhaustion, right? So sometimes you might be doing a task that's pulling a lot from you mentally. You might only spend 20 minutes on that creative task where your brain's really working and you feel like, oh my gosh, I've got this energy. And then at the end of the day, you don't. So let's talk about that burnout. Let's talk about the feeling exhausted all the time, feeling low energy. Let's talk about all of that. So burnout versus laziness. What is laziness? Laziness is a lack of desire, right? It's like you have no desire to do it, so you're just not going to do it. You're not really bothered. Whereas burnout, you're too tired or depleted to act on the desire. So you really want this thing. You might have said you want to learn a new skill, work on a business, work on a hobby, and you are so depleted that the time in which you've mapped out to do it, you actually don't have the desire to do it at that particular time, or you fall asleep. You have a nap, so I'm just going to lay down for 15 minutes, an hour later, you're still asleep. Or mentally, your brain is just not able to get into that creative zone and that creative space. That is the difference between laziness and being burnt out. But I want you to identify how much things you're doing in your day. Are you one of those people like me that feels like, listen, I got 100 hours in the day and I'm going to write a list and I'm going to get up, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do my washing, I'm going to tidy up my room, I'm going to organize my clothes, and then I'm going to start work, I'm going to have work, and when I finish work, I'm going to do all of these tasks, and then I'm going to go to the gym. Like, that is me. My days are ram-packed. And then I have moments where I completely burn out. I'm still learning the difference and I'm still setting those boundaries. So let's go through some signs of burnout. I wrote a few down because I want you guys to get these gems. Do you feel like you are constantly tired even when you slept? So you might have slept 7 hours and you wake up feeling tired. That could be a sign of burnout. Or perhaps you're napping during the day, napping on your lunch break, napping when you come back from work, and you just still feel tired. It doesn't matter how much you sleep. That could be a sign of burnout. It also could be a sign that you are deficient, normally in vitamin D or iron. So do those tests. If you've done all those tests and there aren't any deficiencies, then 9 times out of 10, you're burnt out. And you have to find a way to refill your cup. So if you stay to the end of this video, I'll be giving you some gems on how you can do just that. The next thing is procrastinating. There are tasks that you know you need to do. Like, you've been saying you're going to reorganize that wardrobe and get some structure for weeks and you haven't done it. You said you were going to read that book. That book that your therapist told you to read and you ain't done it? Yeah, that book. So I feel like if you keep procrastinating on tasks, that could also be a sign of being burnt out. So don't get too hard on yourself. These are signs. And now you know it, I'm sure you can spot it. Being overwhelmed by really small decisions, right? At times I can be quite indecisive. Like if you give me a menu of food and you told me to pick, to me that's a lot. I'm like, I could get this, or I could get this, or but this would pair nice with this, and then I just get decision fatigue. But if you get super overwhelmed by making really small decisions, it could be because you are mentally burnt out. That even small tasks like thinking can feel like a bit of a struggle. And then the final thing that I often struggle with is the shame, right? It's like a loop of shame, like I should be doing more. That rhetoric of, "Oh, I said I was going to do all these things that I haven't gotten done." And it's like you don't even take the moment to realize I've actually accomplished all of these things, but your brain simply focuses on all the things you haven't done. That's called a shame loop. Your brain constantly reminds you and shames you of the things that you can't do, or you shouldn't do, or you haven't done. And most of the time, it's because you're burnt out while you haven't done those little things. So if any of those you sat and said, yep, that's me. Yep, that sounds like me. Then you might be burnt out. And if you said yes to at least 3, sis, put your phone on D&D and let's get into how we can fill your cup, because I don't want you to get distracted, okay? I want you to be focused for the next part of this video. Are you a high achiever, right? It might be that you're in environments that glorify burnout. And I'll give you an example. I worked for this sales company a few years back, and there was we were around a lot of high achievers. There were a lot of financial scores that we had to reach each month. So, they had a monthly meeting where at the end of the month, they would put on the scores like in front of everyone. You'd have this meeting where like 50 plus, maybe like 100 people are there, and all the scores would be read out. And what it meant was that, it's kind of shameful if you were like at the bottom of the score sheet. So throughout the month, there was this whole mentality of like team no sleep, and oh, how many have you signed today, and how many have you closed today? And it was like an environment where they glorified burnout. Like you could be on the phone like closing a sale at like 10 o'clock, and that was normal. And I'm like, who do you have that wants to be on the phone at 10 p.m? Oh, my clients are mums and they don't mind. And it was just like a mentality of like team no sleep. We have to go, we have to go, we have to go. And I remember feeling super burnt out to the point where I didn't even want to speak to my clients, because the desire that I had was to help and to serve. But they had put all this pressure and burden on sales and numbers, and it just, for me, that I'm just not that person that's motivated by those things. I'm more driven by purpose. So it wasn't speaking to me. But that environment glorified burnout. And sometimes you're around people that listen to a lot of motivators online that say you can sleep when you're dead, and team no sleep, and all of those things glorify this mentality. So it might be that you're around friends who are high achievers, and I'm not saying that, that shouldn't be you, but you have to find that balance, because you are a human being, not a human doing. So might be that. Second is, where are my eldest daughters at? Where you at? Because I have you down. I'm a second oldest, so, I kind of feel like I shoulder some of the responsibility, but I definitely feel my older sister, she has it. But elder sister is all strong friend, okay? I'm the strong friend, even though I'm not the eldest sister. But yeah, I would say that if you are the eldest sibling, or you are the strong friend, that friend that everyone comes to give advice. The friend that they just assume that you're okay and nothing goes wrong in your life because you're the friend that gives them all the advice, and you're always there, and you're always the motivator, and you're always the cheerleader, and they come and they just zap your energy with all their problems. Yeah, we're talking to you. You're 9 times out of 10 going to have burnout, because there hardly is anyone that you can speak to offload, or the responsibility for you to do well as an older sibling or a strong friend. It's like there's a lot of weight on your shoulders, and that can lead to you feeling really burnt out, because you don't just carry your problems and traumas, you're carrying everyone around you's baggage that they're just dumping on you, and you just wake up feeling like you got the weight on your shoulder. You've got such and such, his child's going to get taken away, and this person's boyfriend's beating them up, and this person's manager's racist, and this person's manager's sexist, and you don't have your own problems. You got everyone else's problems. You're likely to achieve burnout, or not achieve. You are likely to feel burnout if that is you. So be mindful of what you take in. Be mindful of your ear gates and your eye gates. Like, what are you listening to? What are you seeing? What is your environment around you? Because these are all the things that can contribute to your burnout. Final is lack of emotional rest, okay? Constantly being switched on, lack of emotional rest. If that is you, like your brain just doesn't switch off. Okay, people that have ADHD, your brain's constantly racing, going, going, going. But for some people, their emotions do the same. They're constantly going, going, going. And that can also cause to burnout. So we're going to get into the solutions, like what can we do to mitigate and to reduce burnout? Because really, you didn't sit in this video just to identify. You want to now know, how can I implement some active strategies, tips to my life so that I don't end up in a mental institution, sectioned, suffering from depression, suicidal, or just isolating yourself from your peers. So let's get into it. Okay, I read a lot. Okay, girl. Okay, what to do about it? If you said yes to any of those things, firstly, I want you to comment below, what are some of the things that you can identify with when it comes to burnout? Why do I say that? Because I want people to feel like they are not alone. Okay, so if any of the things I said, if you're just the elder sibling, like, comment below exactly what it is that that you feel you can resonate with or relate to, or maybe you've been through it and you've overcome it, because you also might be able to help. But here's some of the things that I believe that you can do that can help you. The first is, instead of criticizing yourself, have compassion. Because if you're anything like me, I'm so hard on myself. Like, I'm probably harder on myself than anyone in my life has ever been on me. Okay, I have such a high standard that I hold myself to, and sometimes I'm just not that compassionate. I was in a relationship and this guy was like, "Can you give me grace?" And I was like, "Oh, what is this grace thing you're talking about?" And he was just like, "Yeah, like, I've made a mistake, but like, can you just give me grace?" And I started to realize that, wow, like, I don't have any compassion because of the standard that I hold myself to. And when he said that, I really was like, yeah, like, I need to give myself some grace, because, yeah, like, you take a lot on and you do a lot. So, babe, give yourself some grace, okay? Have some compassion. You've probably been through a lot. You've probably had some bumps in the road. You've probably been the strong person in your family. So start by just saying, do you know what? In Jamaica, we have this saying, yeah? You've been through enough, yeah? You've been through enough. Just take a minute. Okay. The next thing is, like, I want you to identify, I'm going to call them energy vampires, but you could identify it as your energy leaks. There might be some people, some things, some activities that just drain your energy, okay? It might even be tasks around the house that you do that are just so depleting that after that you need a reset, you need to go for a walk. Or it might be that there's some people that drain your energy, that call your phone, yap for hours, telling you their problems and barely ask you how your day is. You need to reduce anything that is depleting your energy, okay? And it starts with saying no and not feeling guilty. I'm going to be doing a video about saying no and not feeling guilty in this series this month, so stay tuned. But sometimes it is just about saying, hey, like, I can't talk right now, I'm in the middle of something, I'll catch you later. I'd love to hear everything that's going on with you in your bay, but right now I just don't have the mental energy to be able to compute anything else. I'm feeling a little bit tired, a little bit burnt out, and that's okay. Or sometimes just not answering your phone. You don't have to give a reason, because it's your phone. They don't pay your phone bill. So ladies, that's the second thing that you can do to help. Alrighty, let's get on to the next one. Rest isn't just sleep, okay? Sometimes you feel like, okay, I've rested, I've had a nap, I should feel energized. No. No. Rest isn't sleep. It's your brain being still, like mental stillness. It's setting boundaries. It's allowing yourself to feel joy. It's literally could be putting some music on, just dancing around your room, just vibing up the place, and just taking a minute to just clock out of the world. I know you got parking tickets and you got credit card bill due and you got all the things that are just weighing you down. Mental stillness is, do you know what? I'm going to clock out. Because sometimes you see when people say journaling helps, sometimes journaling, your brain's still going. So mental rest is another thing that you can just say, do you know what? My phone's going off. I'm putting my phone on do not disturb. The next half an hour is mine. I'm going to lock my room door. If anyone knocks on my room, listen, I'm not available. If you live in a shared house, taking that time to just say, do you know what? I just need to just chill and reset. And last but not least, okay, I'll tell you where this came from, because this one I have to give credit, okay? But I'm going to mention it, then I'll give credit to it. So, schedule nothing, okay? You need to have days where you're just saying, like, I ain't doing anything. I ain't scheduling in the grocery shop. I'm going to pick up the meat from the meat man and do the season. No, we're not doing any of that. We're not meeting Sally for lunch, okay? And we're definitely not meeting the girls for drinks. No. And you're not going to that day party. And also, you're not tidying up. You're not doing laundry. We're doing nothing today. Like, do nothing day. And you do it without guilt. Like, and I had this friend, and I have to give him credit, because this definitely weren't my idea, okay? But he was like, yeah, like, I just have a day where I do nothing. I was like, what do you mean nothing? He's like, I just do nothing. Like, that's like nothing. I'm like, what do you mean nothing? Like, you're not even like rustle up a little food, or... He's like, no, I do nothing. And I sat and I thought, wow, I don't know if it's my trauma or the fact that I come from a Caribbean household where you can't be idle. You actually are told off. They will tell you the devil will have work for idle hands. No. Like, I don't think I've ever heard... I was so perplexed. I said, what do you mean you do nothing? I said, wow. Since I was a child, my weekends have consisted of some form of structure, okay? If it's not food shopping and tidying up the house, and we have to go food, there's always a shop, a clothes shop, a christening, an event, a church on Sunday. Like, there was never a day of nothing, okay? So when he said that to me, I was like, right, I need to do nothing. It was hard. But do nothing. If you are struggling with burnout, book a weekend away where you can do nothing. If you can't do nothing in your own house. But that is something you really need to implement. Okay. Rest is a requirement, not a reward. Okay. Sometimes we feel like we need to work in order to reward ourselves with rest. No, it's actually a requirement, because if you burn out, nothing's getting done. Everything luck off. Okay. So if this really hit a nerve with you, if you feel like, do you know what? Like, you said something that spoke to me. I want you to know that you're not alone. Like, you don't need to keep pushing through to prove something. You don't need to sleep when you're dead. Like, that used to be my saying that I lived by. Like, this is the time for you to stop performing, yeah, and start living, start healing. This isn't the time for you to add more to your plate. So if you feel like, do you know what, this video just hit a nerve. I want you to do me a favor. I want you to comment below the one thing that you have taken away from this video, okay? I want you to share this video with 2 of your friends, because 9 times out of 10, if you're feeling burnt out, I guarantee there's somebody in your circle that's also feeling the same way. So I want you to share this with them. Sharing is caring, okay? And not everyone can afford therapy. This might be the closest they get, or they just might not want therapy, okay? This might be the closest they get to start doing that self-work. And if you aren't subscribed to the channel and you really enjoyed this video, I will be releasing videos every week to help you fill your cup. Okay, so if this is it, come join the tribe, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you so much for watching till the end. It means the world to me. Take care. Bye-bye.